Hi y'all, welcome back to Alaskan Ballistics. This is Chuck. We are going to be shooting 9mm versus 40 caliber versus 45 versus 10mm today. And we are shooting the Underwood Xtreme Penetrators 9mm plus P plus. This is an all short barrel test, so all the short barrels I had in my collection, that's what these are. And so you can see the 9mm is supposed to be going 1350. There it is right there, 9mm. See what the bullet looks like, 1350 on that. And then I couldn't decide which short barrel 40 Smith & Wesson to shoot it in, so I decided why not both. And so we've got a Smith & Wesson Shield Gen 1 40 Smith & Wesson, and we've got a SIG 239 40 Smith & Wesson. SIG 239 40 Smith & Wesson, and there's the ammunition for you right there, what it looks like. And the box says it's supposed to be going 1200 feet per second. So we probably won't get that velocity out of the short barrels, but you never know. Hopefully close. 45 ACP plus P at 200 grain. The box says it's supposed to be going 1000 feet per second. We know we won't get that out of the Glock 30. There's the Glock 30. And here is the bullet and ammunition, loaded ammunition here. Losing Starline Brass plus P rated. There we go. And finally, last and certainly not least, number one in our hearts, is the 10mm. So the 10mm auto, 140 grain extreme penetrator, supposed to be going 1500 feet per second. We're using the Glock 29. And this is what the ammunition looks like right here. There we go. 9mm versus 40 versus 45 versus 10mm. Enjoy the show. Here we are shooting over the chronograph again. Extreme Penetrator short barrel test. We're doing 9mm, 40 caliber, two 40 calibers in short barrels, 45 and 10mm. So here we go over the chronograph, 3 rounds each because this ammo is just too expensive to shoot more than 3 rounds. Here we go. 1352. 1338. And 1325. That's out of the Glock 23, and I'm about 4 feet away from it or so. Not bad. Lots of wind today, lots of wind. Here we go. Shield, 40 caliber Shield. Here we go. 40 Smith & Wesson Extreme Penetrators, 3 out of the Shield. 1171. Looks like I got an error there. 1185. Let me put one more in it. See if I can get one more reading here. 1174. Now out of the SIG 239. Here we go. 1270. 1251, 1263, and my thumb rides the slide release on this thing. Not bad. A little bit more out of that gun. 45 auto, Glock Model 30. We've seen this before on the 21 versus 30 Underwood Xtreme Penetrators video, so check that out if you haven't checked that out already. Here we go. Glock Model 30, 45 auto. 877, whoa. 893. 906. So not very fast at all out of the 45. And last but not least, Glock 29, 10mm, 3 rounds of Underwood Xtreme Penetrator. 1506, whoa. 1500.
and 1488. That's going a lot faster than it used to go out of the Glock 29 when we did it in the summer. So I don't know if it's this Glock 29 with its spring or its setup or just a different batch of ammo, but that's going nearly what the box says out of a Glock 29. Amazing. Check out the add up slide and then you'll like our cool penetration test this time.
Well, I had somebody on the Reloaders Network. Awesome place. If you haven't visited us on the Reloaders Network yet, make sure you do. Complain about the Star Wars crawl across the Ballistics. They wanted to see it all at once, so I'm doing it this way this time. The Glock 43 9mm had an average muzzle velocity of 1338.333 feet per second, with a standard deviation of 13.503 and foot-pounds of energy 457.49. The Shield Smith & Wesson 40 Smith & Wesson average muzzle velocity 1,176 2/3 feet per second. Standard deviation of 7.3711, very nice. Foot-pounds of energy 430.5175. The SIG P239 40 Smith & Wesson had an average muzzle velocity of 1,261, so almost 100 feet per second more than the Shield. It got a standard deviation of 9.609. Foot-pounds of energy was 494.5042. The Glock 30.45 Auto had an average pathetic muzzle velocity of 892.0 feet per second, a standard deviation of 14.52, and foot-pounds of energy, a dismal 353.4399. Wonder how it'll do in our penetration test. And of course the Glock 29 10mm Auto. Average muzzle velocity was 1,498.0, which was significantly more than Chuck and I got in the summer. Check that video out. The standard deviation was 9.1651, and the foot-pounds of energy was 697.762, 700 foot-pounds nearly out of that small little barrel. Check out the penetration test. Don't forget to support us on Patreon.
Here's what we got set up for our 9mm versus 40 versus 45 versus 10mm short barrel Underwood Xtreme Penetrators. We've got a frying pan. This griddle kind of has been scratched up, as you can see here. Shouldn't cook on it anymore. Behind that we got a package of ribs. Behind that we got a box of sales pliers from Cabela's. And then we got water jug after water jug with a whole bunch of them on the side here. I think that'll slow the bullet down. We should catch them probably in the box, at least for the 45, but should definitely catch them in the water jug. We do have them water jugs on the side because these things are famous for coming out the side. 9mm Glock 43 against our makeshift meat pack test here. We got a frying pan, some ribs, some newspapers, and water jugs behind that. Sales flyers from Cabela's, not newspapers. 115 grain plus B plus Underwood Xtreme Penetrator. Here we go. Alright. Probably looks like it hit the edge of the pan, went right through the ribs. We'll set up and do the 40 Smith & Wesson test next. Here we go, 40 Smith & Wesson out of the Shield Xtreme Penetrator. Alright, looks like I hit right next to the 9mm bigger hole. 40 Smith & Wesson SIG 239. Put it right next to that shield hole there. Alright, kind of put it right in the middle. 239. Yeah, hardly moved at all. 45 Auto, Glock 30, Xtreme Penetrators. Here we go. Alright, looks like we went right through it and probably caught by the newspapers or sales flyers. That's pretty good. And everybody's favorite 10mm Glock 29. Here we go. All right, let's go look at the damage. Pretty good deformation to the back of this pan here. Get those holes right there. and they've gone through quite a ways. There's the 9mm at about 4 inches into the thing. Through 9mm at 3 inches, 4 inches or so for the first 40 Smith & Wesson hole. Through the second 40 Smith & Wesson hole. Actually, the holes are starting to blend together in here. Oh, there it is. Here's the next 40 Smith & Wesson. And both of the 40s penetrated more than the 45 and more than the 9mm. Trying to find this 45. Ah, 45 is laying in between some magazines right there. There's the 45. And of course, it was probably at about the same as the first Smith & Wesson Shield. And that 10mm, look at this. 10mm was way farther down there than all of them. There we go. A little bit of the bullet jacket pulling off there. Okay, from right to left here we have our 9mm 40 caliber out of the Smith & Wesson Shield, 40 caliber out of the SIG 239, 45, and our 10mm, which got deformed a little bit on the top, which is pretty interesting here. As it got deformed on the top. 9mm was at about 3.5 inches of penetration. This is all guesstimation. The first 40 was at about 4. This one was about 4.5. This one was at about 3.5. It looked like it turned sideways and rolled under where you couldn't find it. Rolled under some of the sail spliers there. And this one is definitely down into the 7 inches of penetration. So there's no surprise which one of these is king. 10mm is still king or queen, depending on how you want to look at it these days. So 9mm is good, 40 is a little better, 45 wasn't as good, but still a big old chunk of lead that's going to tear a big old hole. And then, of course, 10mm did the best on penetration in this little test. So if that was a fun little test, let me know. And support us on Patreon. Those ribs are $21 each. And, of course, each one of these boxes of ammo are anywhere from 38 for the 9mm all the way up to 53 for the 10mm. So here in Anchorage, we can't ship it online. So anyway, God bless. Take care. Support us on Patreon. We will see you at the range. Take care.